Started?
Hi, I'm Keizaron. I play games.
Hi, I'm Montebank.
He used to play games. Then he did a thing called real life. What a nerd.
No, right?
But Battle Network 2 is neat because it has a lot of RNG manipulation, more so than any of the other runs that we've seen so far. So Monty's probably going to help explain that a bit, and he's going to have to focus on certain parts. And I think that should be it. So we'll do the timer off the video, so feel free to start whenever keys, and then Gamer will hit the button.
Alright, well, I'll count down for the sake of counting down anyway, but 3, 2, 1, memes. Hi. Welcome to Battle Network 2. It's a wonderful game. So the basic premise of this run is beat the game using super duper cool suave RNG manipulation. We won't see it for a couple of minutes, but it does happen pretty early. Not as early as the first Battle Network game, but like if there's a game that trumps this game's RNG manipulation, it's the first one, which the first one definitely needs it.
And then the what's a good folder supposed to look like?
Well, you know, I for one prefer alphabet soup, so we're gonna have our folder be alphabet soup. It might not sound like it's efficient, but I promise we'll make it work.
Just gotta get lucky. How hard is that?
Yeah.
Oh, the customary tutorial.
Yeah, the tutorial for the most part is like the same in every game. Like I'm pretty sure it's like the same draws except for the last one in number 1, which they RNG manipulate that, if I recall.
The last fight is always like different in every game, right?
Maybe. I don't know, I'm bad.
It's the same in this one and 3, right? I remember. I can never like figure out how to do the shotgun trick.
Shotgun trick's easy. You just gotta, you know, play good. Bam. Easy peasy. So right away, you're gonna see a little bit of odd movement here. So I'm running to this wall. You see me pause and unpause. So I'm trying not to generate a turn frame there. And I'm gonna do this quick folder edit.
Is being problematic.
Oh, neat.
Okay, it's back.
Of course, it has a problem as soon as I start explaining something. I have no idea how this is gonna work because I did that movement slightly differently than usual.
You need to get a certain busting level to have a chance for the guard star. And you got it, nice.
Keys, the stream is buffering a little bit, so I'm gonna refresh the tab real quick.
Okay. So I didn't necessarily want that fight, but whatever.
In Battle Network 2, you can't actually run away unless you have... Actually, running away is just very difficult in this game.
Yeah.
It's pretty much based on HP memories, but it turns out it's easier to use this.
It's fine. Like, I'm just resetting for Zenny, so
Okay.
I could stand here and
Gamer.
wait. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Google. This stream brought to you by...
Well, it's done now, so.
Okay,
Boy.
so you're good to continue. Sorry about that.
Okay, neat. That's fine. The all-important Zap Ring 1A. Calculated. So if you're noticing I'm doing a lot of resetting, and I edited my folder earlier, Montebank could explain why I did that.
So, the way the RNG in this game works is that when you reset your game, it always resets to the same seed. And what it actually does is it randomizes your folder by shuffling it. So, for example, like if you reset, and then you get into a fight like the same, like say 10 frames, you might get like chips 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So what we could do is we could put the chips we want to draw in those slots, and thus that'll allow us to consistently get any chips we want. Of course, like hitting one specific frame is difficult, but we can set it up so that we can hit a window of frames. Like we don't just have to hit frame 10, we could hit frame like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and we could like set the window up large enough so that we can actually manipulate our chip draws very consistently.
So it's pretty much frame perfect tricks that we can do on offsetting frames. The only thing that's really frame perfect in this case is getting encounters.
There's like 2 RNG values in this game, if I recall. Something like that. I might be thinking BN3.
Let's see. Oh, this is the gross one. So let's see.
What makes this game different from Battle Network 1 is that in Battle Network 1, the RNG starts moving when you hit continue, whereas in Battle Network 2, the RNG actually starts moving when you reset the game. So it's much easier to consistently manipulate in Battle Network 1 because you don't have to worry about timing your continue press. There's a couple chips we need to grind at the beginning of the game. What we need is it 3 guard star chips?
Yeah, we need 3 guard star, and there is manipulation to get them. We kind of just dealt with an odd circumstance, so I'm just kind of trying to improv it here. If worse comes to worse, I can always jack out, jack back in, and do it. Or we could get the legendary rank 5 guard star. We did it. No worries.
Rank 6 is 50%. Rank 5 is 25.
Yes, so is rank 7.
That was lucky.
It was. See, now that I bought that HP memory, I can just run away from these fights. I don't need to worry about anything. Beam was kind of messing up while I did it, but I saved in front of the GMD in this area. Much like manipulating for encounters, you can manipulate what you get from the GMD by picking it up at a certain time. So I was resetting and starting the game at a certain point to try and get 1500 Zenny. And we got some extra Zenny here because we fought a couple of extra encounters. Not exactly ideal, but since this isn't really like world record attempts, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Getting the Zenny is also frame perfect, but the resets are pretty quick, so it doesn't take too long.
It's usually pretty easy to get it by like the 3rd try at the latest.
And it's at the beginning of the run, so resetting's not too terrible. I think there was a version of the route that like reset for a 10,000 Zenny drop like several hours in.
What a horrible thing that was.
It saves like 30, 40 seconds because you had to skip like one of the side quests to get the Zenny. And it just wasn't worth it because it's just way too inconsistent.
So this will show off encounter manipulation a little better, so okay, that's why you save. So you're gonna see me run to the corner, and then you're gonna see me reset for double fish encounters. I want 2 dash star chips. And the resets are pretty quick because the encounter is right there. So this is one of 2 of them.
The 2 frames are consecutive, if I remember.
Oh,
And
wow.
there's a certain trick you have to do to get the double deletion.
I don't know if I'll get it there. Yeah, I got a G. I could make it work with the G, but
Star's way better.
like star's definitely way better. Huh. So, like we mentioned before, they're frame perfect, so it does take a couple tries. I don't know why it's giving me Metars all of a sudden, but that was a little fast. And this is early enough to where in an actual run, it's not a huge deal if it doesn't work out. Obviously in a marathon, it sucks when it doesn't. Trying to figure out why there's such a huge issue right now, though. I think my audio might be slightly off, and that's what's causing it.
You usually use an audio cue for this one.
Okay, we're just gonna jack out and try again. There might be something off that I'm not aware of.
That's unfortunate.
It's really weird. I've
Anyway,
never seen it happen.
The reason Keys is running all the way to the right corner and doing the resets from there is because the way the encounters work is that it checks the encounter every I think 32 steps you take. And so by moving to the right corner, he's manipulating his step counter to a specific value.
How is that a G still? I think I'm supposed to bust her twice and not 3 times. I think that's what I'm doing wrong. Of course.
This is normally 25%, but you can manipulate the drop if you know what encounter you're getting.
It's the other encounter that's 3. That's what I'm doing wrong. So this should be star.
You can tell which encounter you get based on your chip draw.
So we're gonna go through that nonsense one more time. This time it'll go a little better because I know what's going wrong.
This is one of the harder minutes.
What do I want star for flow? Obviously if we get G, why would I get an encounter there? Obviously if we get G and then use it with like an A chip, we can't do that.
Star is the best code, as it goes with everything. So that makes it easier to set up manipulation with it. Because you can use it to set up one manipulation with a G code chip. You can use it to set up another manipulation with, say, an L code chip.
It would have just been faster to win this fight. Goodness.
1 HP memory is not good enough in this comp. If you fail to run away, well, you'll always fail to run away. There's like not probability based. The thing that sucks is that if you're unlucky enough to get an encounter before we get our step counter to the value we want it to be for the manipulation, that resets the step counter completely, and we have to essentially jack out and jack in again to get our setup back.
There, so let's pretend like that all happened first try twice. We did it. Go team.
Nice first try, just dash stars.
Thanks, man. So that's like all the manips are still a little tricky. They're not terribly complex. There's another one coming up that's pretty complex, but other than that, for the most part, they're pretty easy. So we're past the hard part already. So the rest of it should be smooth. Should be.
That's like the last of the frame perfect ones, I think. There's a couple like 50% ones.
Yeah.
They're not frame perfect like this.
No.
For Beam was working fine on my end in the sense of I wasn't dropping frames, but every single one after that has been dropping like tons of frames. Like tons of frames.
Yeah, I can see the but it's just
I just made cyber gas flow out. Just heads up.
Okay, looks to be good.
Okay.
All right.
Hi guys.
So
We're back. Just in time
so wrong
to.
warp the Area 1 boss successful.
Yes. It was all part of my grand plan.
I'm not
So,
spliced at all.
I'm a little bummed because you guys didn't get to see the folder edit that I did. But as you saw, I just stopped and restarted the game. Also, I hear an echo of me. Why is there an echo of me? But I saved, I quit, I restart, and I got all these S chips in a row. That's part of the manipulation we were talking about earlier. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I edited my folder the way that I did. So we drew from specific slots in my folder. So, easy fight. Not spliced at all. Go team.
Nice fight. Did you remember his movements too?
That's one of two patterns that I know. I want to say that I've seen 4 different patterns, and I never really worked them out.
Because there's different frames you could hit, even though you get the same chip draws.
Yeah.
The RNG is actually different for each one. And the same RNG for chip draws and for enemy movement. Yeah, it's the same one. Yeah. It's awkward.
So,
Yeah, that actually comes into play later.
anyone in chat that's alive, say hi so we know that we're going good. Pretty please. Okay, thanks. So, story-wise, we want to go camping, yada yada yada. So, we're trying to get all our friends into it. Yai's not there. Mail's totally busy with school. We're gonna ask our good buddy Dex. Bros before hoes, you know? No, he doesn't want to go. Shit. Well, I'm pretty mad he doesn't want to go, so I'm gonna fight him real quick. So we do the same exact manipulation on Gutsman that we did on Airman, where we get these chips. This one's a little easier for me to hit because I just recently discovered like a pretty good like audio cue to make it a little more consistent. So easy fight, you know, no problem. Now we own Gutsman ship.
I said he has the attack that just goes right in front of you.
Yeah. But no, while practicing for the marathon, I re-looked at some of the manipulations that we did and looked at using different audio cues to try to make it a little more consistent. I'm pleased with the results. Usually that Gutsman fight is just awful. Like, even with manipulation, it was so clunky to get it right.
It's a 50%, right?
Yeah.
You...
So I'm gonna do more folder edits here.
We get to our first sequence of multiple fights in a row. So if we can manipulate the first fight, we can then reuse that seed for each of the subsequent fights.
I don't know if 8 will work here or not. I accidentally busted a 7th time.
Well, if you're going to be off, it's better to be off by 2 than off by 1. That's the reason, like, you'll see like single buster shots, because a buster shot advances the RNG by 1.
So this did not go 100%, but the fights are still going to be easy for the most part. It's going to take a little longer than usual. So what had happened was I was supposed to buster 6 times, but I busted that 7th time, which advanced the RNG a little more, and I did an 8th time to try and compensate, and it put us in a usable seed, but not the seed I normally get. We should still be fine though.
40 HP is a very nice number for most of our chips. Guard Star does exactly that much. I bet that one lives for just a little longer. Nice cannon. I'm always afraid that it'll hit you before you can get the cannon shot off.
Yeah,
And if it does that, it's
bunnies are terrifying. Like, they're more terrifying than they should be.
They are. Especially if they chain stun. Can get pretty scary pretty quickly.
So BN2 is kind of wacky in the way it handles sneak runs. So it's based off of your hit points, but the sneak run rate for your hit points is a lot lower than just naturally being able to run away. Whereas in Battle Network 3, they kind of fixed that. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be the other way around, because it doesn't make any sense that 200 hit points can repel an encounter, but 200 hit points can't run away from the same encounter.
Usually, like, the intention of repels is to like just make sure you don't encounter enemies that are way lower level than you, for like some definition of level.
Some more folder edits thrown.
Yeah, menus are set up so that we combine the folder edits with the saves whenever possible. That we don't have to open the menu multiple times.
So we should get a
And then we
dash here, and just grab all this for cust points, I guess. Well, besides that, I guess. Do a specific movement there, that way we can take them all in one hit. I look like a god gamer, everyone wins. So we're gonna run over here real quick. We have access to Yai's PC over here, because we got her code. She apparently mumbled it while she was sleeping or something, you know, some sort of plot. But she does have this neato HP memory here, and I don't pick up every single HP memory and power up in general, but it's really handy to have them, just so our sneak runs work. Every HP memory you pick up, every HP memory you pick up gives you 1 tier level, and then every power up that isn't an HP memory gives you 3, I believe it is.
3 or 5, but probably 3.
And then style change gives you a level up too of some sort.
We pretty much pick up like every power up within a reasonable distance.
There was one power up way back when that was kind of super duper out of the way, but we routed that out, thank God. Might have been a little fast. We'll find out.
Turns out it's much easier to manipulate your encounters when you don't get any.
Oh, perfect.
So this set of fights is one of the main reasons we wanted Guard Star, or Dash Star instead of Dash G. You can use it with the wide sword. These three metas are really awful if you can't just one-shot them right off. At the beginning of the fight is the only time you can hit all 3 of them.
Oh, lame. So this is kind of lame. There really wasn't much I could do here. So the B tank advances RNG whenever it moves. And it advanced a little too much there. And I guess it took a while to get my dash to go. So we get to improv here. This will be neat. Darn it. Probably would have been better to use it on the B tank, but oh well.
40's not too bad.
So those fights were slow, and that's because the manipulation in this is a little finicky. Like I had said, the B-Tank's movement kind of messes with it. You want to kill it faster than slower, from my experiences. I don't know if that's entirely accurate, but usually the more he moves, the worse it's been for me.
I usually want to just kill it as quickly as possible, or at least kill it in a consistent way. It's random whether it chooses to move or whether it chooses to fire, and it does that every tile it moves. But as long as you get like Gutsman plus 30 on the second fight, it's not going to be too slow. That fight is really, really bad without it.
Yeah, every other fight it takes maybe like 2 or 3 turns if we didn't have the manipulation. But that fight's just awful.
Is it time for the bees?
The bees! So naturally, to get rid of bees, we gotta find these random items. So a stick in the water, okay, that's reasonable. Paper in a tree, I don't really have an explanation for that one. A lighter off where the world ends, because you know the world is flat. So we light the paper and we get rid of the bees. Go us. So now we're gonna jack into this circa 1950s Russian soldier statue. And we're gonna rob it. It does have this neat OHP memory. But now there's a bear in the way.
Bear!
Bear! So we're gonna pick up these binoculars that are just, you know, behind the waterfall, you know what, no big deal. It turns out the bear's mechanical, and we can jack into that, because in the world of Mega Man Battle Network, you can jack into everything. So we pick up these reg ups, that way we can reg chips for later. Chips have a specific megabyte value to them.
Regular chip mechanic was introduced in BN2, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so what that lets you do is it lets you pick a chip and ensure that you get it every single fight. But of course, like, it would be overpowered if you could just like pick really strong chips and always get them. So what they do is they assign sizes to each chip. The more powerful ones are larger. And you have to get a certain amount of reg up memory in order to equip that chip and ensure that you always draw it.
Yet, you know, full cust chips are not terribly expensive. So before we had a route where we manipulated everything, we would get full custs, which would just automatically refill your cust gauge. So if you didn't draw what you wanted, then you just put whatever you didn't want in along with that, and then just throw it away for a free turn, pretty much. And they were so cheap.
In later games, they set it up so you can only have 1 full cust in your folder at a given time. In this game, you could have up to 5, or is it 10?
It's 5,
Only
yeah.
5. It's only 5. 10 is BN1.
It's still an insane amount, though, so imagine 5 free turns at your disposal. So if you notice, a lot of times when I do my folder edits, I'll do it when I'm menuing anyway. That's just me trying to optimize it a little bit. Trying to avoid opening the menu as much as possible. And we have a lot of folder edits. I think if I recall, it's like 18 folder edits.
There's a few manips we can reuse, but for the most part, we have to re-edit our folder because we want to change the chips we draw. Usually we want a different setup for boss fights than for regular viruses. Sometimes it just depends on the frame. Like, sometimes there's just no way to avoid hitting a late frame on a certain fight, so you need to reorder your chips because you can't hit the setup that you would normally use.
This comp music's good, at least.
This comp has really nice music. Doesn't get interrupted every 10 seconds like Mount Moon does.
Oh, good old Mount Moon. That's manipulated now, you know. Kind of. So the story behind this part is we're disabling a bunch of bombs that are in a bunch of random objects. We got into a pet, we got into a thermos, now we're in the binoculars that we used earlier to defeat the evil bear.
We apparently needed binoculars to figure out that the bear wasn't a real bear.
So it was a very convincing bear, apparently. I'm taking specific paths here, and you're gonna see me grab this blue mystery data from behind. This particular panel actually explodes, and for whatever reason, you're more likely to set it off if you grab it from the front than you are from the back, even though I'm standing exactly where the explosion would occur. I don't really have an explanation for that one. Just odd design, I guess.
Yeah, the gimmick in these comps is that there are sort of like invisible walls where if you run into one of them, it explodes and wastes a bunch of time. So it's like essentially a maze where you can't see the walls.
It's like Koga's gym with explosions.
You can actually see the walls in Koga's gym.
You can't in Gen 4. Or yellow if you have like the worst TV ever. Yellow, it's painful to look at. Goodness.
Oh, you dodged the first one. At the beginning of the fourth comp, there's one that just tends to explode anyway, even when you try to dodge it.
Yeah, I have to take pretty wide move. There's a second one too, but that one's not as frequent, but it's still a little obnoxious. So if you recall, I fought Dex earlier to get his Gutsman ship. We have guard stars, and I picked up those dash chips. So the beauty of having those chips is here. We get to create a powerful program advance called Gut Shoot. It does exactly 400 damage. And oh look, Quickman has 400 hit points. That's awfully convenient.
Rip Quickman.
You could say that was a quick fight. I hate myself.
Gotta go fast. Quickman's gimmick is that you can't actually hit him unless he's attacking you. If you try to attack him, he will block it.
And he moves randomly 6 times before he decides to attack you. So if you wanted to be safe, you could wait until he hits you, because then he's still vulnerable for a little bit. But what I do is I count how many times he moves, and on the 6th one I decide to just YOLO it. It hasn't been often that I've messed that up. I was expecting to mess it up here, because, you know, what better way to complement technical issues than run issues as well?
And the nice thing about Guts Shoot is that it pauses the screen. Well, nice, I guess.
Nice
in the sense that it's nice in the sense that when you use it, it's much easier. It's very easy to hit because you don't have to worry about the enemies moving after you use it. It's essentially instantaneous because it freezes them. But the downside of it, of course, is that it freezes the screen, and so it takes longer than a non-freezing attack would do. So we try to avoid using it whenever possible.
Yeah, other than boss fights and one non-boss fight, we don't use it. And the one non-boss fight, there's probably a nicer way to do it. I haven't really spent time looking into that fight.
Yeah, the biggest advantage of doing Guts Shoot on that fight is because we already have Guts Shoot set up, so we don't have to do a folder edit. Honestly, there aren't very many chips in the folder that are capable of dealing 300 damage at once.
Yeah, especially early game. So having that PA is really powerful. And since we can just manipulate it whenever we want, we get really easy fights.
Like, it's a 40 damage chip, a 90 damage chip, and a 50 damage chip, which make 400 total.
Because math.
Spreaders are dumber.
Yeah, program advances are pretty much the bread and butter of the fighting style when it comes to bosses. Manipulation's the technical bread and butter. If we were running the Japanese version, then, you know, using a ridiculous glitch would also be more bread, mo butter.
It's like a PA, just without the actual PA.
It's a PA without the animation. That's a good way to look at it. And, you know, it deals basically infinite damage, so, you know.
Then it's a big number.
So right now we're kind of just doing fetch quests. That's something that's pretty prevalent in at least the newer games, not the older games. Sorry. Like 1,
Just
2, and
like
3 have a ton
RPGs
of
in
fetch
general.
quests. Yeah.
But we want to advance our rank, and apparently to advance our rank we have to do 3 side quests.
Oh no, it's not Prism and Farsword, it's Prism and Tree Bomb 1. Wow. I was on his hitbox really weird, so it would not let me talk to him. That was kind of rude.
It depends where you're facing, not like whether you're actually touching him or not.
I don't know if
You can actually
Gamer
talk
can
to him.
hear me, but my internet is fine right now. So if there's an issue, it's on Beam's end this time. Yes.
It looks good to me. It's held up for like 20 minutes so far. New record.
Yeah. There's something about restreaming, because I don't have these problems on my own stream, but every time I do an internet marathon of some sort, this tends to happen. Yeah, so what happens, BroShock, is you throw the prism, and then you throw the tree bomb into it, and the game doesn't know what to do with the collision. So it just disperses damage until the tree bomb just kind of wears off. So it's a set amount of damage because it's set on how long the tree bomb's hitting it, but it's infinite in the sense of it's gonna kill everything you use it on besides a Dominard, because of course.
Yeah, it disperses the damage once per frame.
Like, of course it'd be a Dominard. Ah, darn it. Hoping we get the better draw. So there's 2 draws that I can get here. One of them is getting the V-gun, so I don't have to... Oh, okay. That wasn't kind.
Ouch.
I mean, that works, but I apparently dashed a little late. It's fine, we got money. Doesn't really matter, but we got money.
None of these drops actually matter except for one. Really? Prism Tree Bomb was in the Japanese PvP strategy guide.
What a joke.
According to Prof. Yeah, Gut shoot is no longer enough. He has too much health.
Oh, what the... He broke his usual pattern, what a jerk. I'm gonna try and mini-bomb him, just because.
Oh, please.
We did it. So we're gonna do kind of an odd folder edit here. If you haven't noticed, I'm also like kind of walking in specific areas. Like I saved right in front of his house. Oh, I forgot to drag. There we go.
The reason for the specific areas is that, I mean, there's like 2 different ways you can set up the minips so that you like hit a specific frame when you start the encounter. The first way is to like save right in front of whoever you're fighting and wait like some amount of time. The second way is to save at a specific point, at a specific distance, hit continue immediately, and have running to the fight actually cover waiting for however many frames you need to hit your setup. And the second way is way more consistent to do, and we try to use it whenever possible. It also saves movement. Well, it's not more expensive in terms of movement actually, but it's less expensive in terms of waiting because we don't have to wait. Sometimes there's no way around using the first method, especially when you have to actually talk to an NPC to trigger the fight. In that case, you can't just like start the fight immediately, and you have to go through a couple dialogue boxes first.
Which is
Fights are
funny
going
that you
pretty well.
mentioned that, because some of the bigger problems are things that I worked on. You had mentioned before that you were doing Gateman a little differently. I can't remember if you saved in like a specific area of the room or not, but that one I do double audio cues, so I use the title screen and then I use the overworld music.
I'd tried a lot of ways for Gateman. That timing is really awkward. I don't think I ever found a good way to do it.
Well,
That's a type.
hopefully I'm able to show that off without like much fail.
You got this.
So I actually don't know the reason behind this mission that we're doing right now, but I'll explain my theory when we get to it. Like it does tell you what the problem is, but it. What the? Oh! I forgot to buy a power up. Let me run back and do that real quick.
Hopefully the sneak run will last. I was wondering about that. I was like, did you buy that earlier?
No. It's there now. It's just to keep you on your toes, man.
You actually have to use the power-ups. And it's actually 4. We were both wrong.
We averaged it out. There we go. Go team.
We were both right then.
Yeah, exactly. So those power-ups are really important because, like I had mentioned before, your run rate is based on your level. Or not your run rate. Your sneak run rate is based on your level. So
Your run rate too. But
yeah.
more
But
than sneak run rate.
if I didn't have both of them up, we'd be getting encounters right now, and I cannot run away from them. Luckily, even though we did all that extra movement and our sneak run's going to run out early, we don't have to worry about encounters anymore, so it was just minor time loss. So we go to this guy and he's complaining. He says something's wrong with the coffee. Something about the coffee being too coffee-like, so clearly there's a virus in there. So we're going to take care of that. I'm not a big fan of coffee to begin with, so it's no love lost. And this is kind of what started a lot of the manipulation routing. So Gutsman had already created a ton of manipulations for bosses. And I was wondering if we could apply that to other parts of the game. So there's one part later where we're in Yumland, and I had put my Gutsman V2 chip in slot 2 because slot 2 seemed to be drawing a lot. And then ended up applying it to a couple of other things like this fight here. If you just saw, I switched dash star to slot 4 and swapped it with the Gutsman V2 chip, so that's now in slot 2, and we were able to pull that pretty easily. And then from there, Montebank took that concept and applied it to every single fight. I want to say back before the manipulation route, there were only a handful of folder edits. And it was just to clear out your folder so you could try to get initially B and G chips, and then at the end of the game it'd be nothing but G and star. But now our folder's just absolute crap if it weren't for manipulation. Like, we still keep shotgun J, we still keep V-gun L. We get rid of most of the swords, I think.
I think we still have a panel out in there somewhere, or like a Recuv 10.
Yeah, we still have Recuv 10s. we believe in healing.
Yeah, most of the slots just don't matter. It turns out that slot 2 is incredibly consistent in that there is more than a 60 frame consecutive window where you will get slot 2.
However, we did just get the most important chip in the game. Recuv 30 star. And by most important chip in the game, I mean we just do not use it.
We used to. We used to like go a little bit out of our way just to pick up filler star chips. Good times. But these gauntlet fights are one of the main reasons we needed to have a good folder flow, because we didn't really know how to manipulate them before.
Also, those reg ups come in handy here because we can reg dash. So pretty much for the most part, these fights are good.
There's very little manipulation here except on the second fight, because Dash Star just takes care of everything.
So we keep talking about how we're RNG, like we're manipulating the RNG, and we keep talking about how we're doing specific things to fix that. So an easy way to think about it is a lot of times your actions will advance it. So when you see me Buster, I'm advancing it. If you see me take a hit, I'm advancing it. If you see me use a chip, depending on what the chip is, I'm either not advancing it or am advancing it.
There's certain rules for it, and the main underlying principle behind which chips advance the RNG is actually the particle effects. Some chips have a random particle effect, or like if you do a Buster shot, there's like a little explosion, and it's random wherever that explosion appears. So it advances the RNG by 1 to generate where to put the particle effect. Getting hit also causes that to happen for certain attacks.
Damn. So that fight that I just did is actually like one of the hardest fights in the game. Pre-manipulation, it was probably one of the only fights that it was a viable consideration to save beforehand.
If you notice that the blue Swordy actually did 100 points of damage with a single attack. We have 220 health. And the way those viruses work is that every 3 times they attack, they use area grab, and eventually they will area lock you to the back row and spam wide sword, which is undodgeable. So if your draws are unlucky enough and you're just forced to keep hitting add, you can actually die on that fight. Other manipulation.
This way. That was a little slower, but I had actually forgotten how I normally do that fight. Still worked.
Manipulation's a little slow. Like, it is possible to manipulate something like, say, a Gutsman 2 plus 10, but then we'd have to re-edit our folder for that, and it's just faster to reuse the same folder from before.
So this manipulation's kind of crummy. We need to make sure we don't have specific chips show up in this first draw. Which we didn't, good. So if we drew a Recov 10A or a Shotgun J, then it's pretty much ripped for that manipulation.
Depending on the chips you draw, that can tell you whether you're too early or too late. So this wind box is actually advancing the RNG because it's random wherever it fires the little wind particles that push you to the back row. So what we do is we correct the RNG on a later fight.
Yeah, the RNG would be corrected on that last fight that we had with the Shrimpies. If we saw a guard star in slot 2, then we would Buster, and that would fix it. And the biggest reason why the RNG is important is because of right here. I don't get why I had an issue just now, but we have an issue.
Oh. Oh dear. Yeah, normally we would have 2 Gutsman chips, but instead we get alphabet soup. Now you get to see the beauty of this folder. Oh, at least you got power-ups and attack. Your Buster Shot does 3 damage instead of the normal one. Keizaron Mini Bomb Master.
We did it. It was really just my excuse to use a mini bomb. No, but see that's kind of what Monty was talking about how the wind box kind of messes with it. Even though we had seen everything we wanted to up to that point in time, the wind box still kind of messed with us in the end. Not really much that could have been done there. More often than not, the last fight is fine. We usually draw 2 Gutsman.
Yeah, just unfortunate because you usually draw Gutsman in the 4th fight, so you don't realize something's off until you get to the 5th.
Yeah.
But that 5th fight, I mean, is the 5th fight is like what makes setting up a manipulation for that one so difficult. So you need Gutsman for 3 of the 5 fights.
So manipulation becomes more handy now because we're going to start fighting bosses that have more than 400 health. So being able to have multiple gut shoots available is really handy. So having 2 Gutsman chips, 2 star chips, or dash star chips, and then having the 3 guard star really helps. You could get away with 2. In fact, before manipulation, if you couldn't get a 3rd one, you would just kind of wing it. We need the 3rd one for a couple of reasons. 1, storyline purposes, we need to get rid of 1. And 2, it just makes setting up the manipulations easier.
So what we do is we because it's like sort of frame perfect, what we do is we set up draws so that like either we get the guard star in position 2 or we get the guard star in position like 6 or something. So we just hit both of those positions to guarantee that we just hit all of the frames. Probably a faster setup for this one, but this one's actually fairly precise. The window's small. But you can see that our folder is essentially a double gut shoot now. And we're going to be using this for the next couple fights. We don't need the second gut shoot here though. It's faster to not use the second gut shoot because it lets us avoid the program advance screen freeze.
I'm a little
Nice fight.
sad that I didn't draw mini bomb there. So the 2 fights that I'll usually get there are either what we just got, or we'll draw mini bomb with 2 plus 10 attacks. Unfortunately, we didn't get mini bomb. Mini bomb would be faster because the Gutsman chip adds that freeze animation there to summon him. Whereas mini bomb, you just chuck it.
You just want an excuse to use mini bombs.
Of course, I always do. I don't quite understand why Cutman's in this story. I mean, yeah, I guess it kind of explains that he's there to help out the bad guys, but like, he seems like an odd choice.
He doesn't last long.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, he's kind of the Krillin. Oh, did I not accept? Damn it. I pressed B too early.
So this job is actually optional, but
Yeah,
it gets 10,000 Zenny and it's pretty fast.
If you recall, Montebank earlier was saying how we had a version of the route where we would stand in front of a green mystery data and try to get 10,000 Zenny. This is a little slower, but it's definitely a whole lot more consistent. And
The
it's
side
not
quest essentially involves talking to some NPCs that are on the way.
Yeah, it's not too terribly out of the way. It's kind of not.
Well, the NPCs just don't shut up.
Yeah, that's what makes it slow. Like, we're gonna talk to an old man, and he's gonna tell us his life story. Pretty sure he dies once while talking to us too. I'm not 100%. Wait, what? What? How'd that happen?
Oh, there it is.
I talked to the... I picked the thing below, and I'm really confused how that happened.
Maybe Mega Man was curious.
I guess. I mean, knowledge is power. But one big reason why doing this side quest isn't a huge deal is because it actually makes movement later on in the game easier. That'll be easier to explain later when it actually happens, but... So we're essentially doubling up on side quests here. We're basically doing 2 at once. Since we're in the same area. Yeah, as you can see, this guy just, he does not shut up. But we're also gonna go over here and take care of another side quest, and it's going to make the end game go a little faster. I believe that the route that gets the Zenny from the GMD doesn't need to do this, and you just do different movement in the end. I believe that's faster. I know that the task does that. Well, they don't even need the Zenny in the task, but they do different movement in the task. But we need the money, and we need it consistently, so we do it a little differently.
Task gets a VAR sword from the chip trader. They don't play fair.
Yeah, they do Prism Bar Sword. A bunch of cheats. So essentially that old man was telling us that he has a crush on this old lady. So eventually we just talk to him again later. And then we get 10,000 Zenny. It's like the world's most expensive letter delivery. So if you recall earlier, I jacked into our house to pick up an unlocker. So unlockers help unlock these purple mystery datas. This power-up is really, really handy. It is a little slow to get because you do have to go through transition screens to pick it up from your house, and then you have to use it, obviously. But the actual distance crossed isn't too bad.
Compared to the other power-ups, this one is pretty cheap. There's a certain level you need to hit in order to dodge encounters in the final comps. A lot of this is set up for that.
So since we're here anyway, we've been picking up bug frags. Bug frags are another form of currency. So we pick up 8 bug frags, no more, no less. And we buy this attack plus 30 chip. This is actually the most important chip in the game. Like,
You only get one.
you only get one, it goes a long way. We could get an attack 20 later, but that's later than we need it.
We've got a lot of attack plus 10s. We bought more of them earlier too.
Yeah, we could always just use 2 of those, I suppose.
I mean, you gotta get lucky and draw them. What are the chances of that?
So yeah, we had mentioned that slot 2 is a really consistent slot to get. Slot 17 is also really important, so a lot of times our folder edits move things in slot 2 and slot 17. I believe 9 is pretty decent, 6 is pretty decent, 4 is pretty good, I think.
4 is our main gut shoots setup. 6 comes into play later because there's an even bigger consistent window for 6 than for 4. You need to have 7 chips at once instead of just the 5 in order to make use of slot 6 because it actually appears in the 6th chip. Slot 2 appears in the 2nd chip, which is kind of amusing. I forget which one 4 appears in.
So we skipped the cutscene, but Shadowman was here earlier. It was quiet earlier because the population was gone. Shadowman's pretty much like the only successful villain in this whole game. Kind of did exactly what he wanted to do. instead of like kind of halfway did it.
Do we count as a villain for successfully stealing this?
Yes. Ugh, I hate this one. So there are two different draws we could get for this. We can either do double Gutsman, or we can get a Gutsman and all of our attacks. All of our attacks is obviously faster, because we don't have to go through the Gutsman thing twice.
A lot of the manipulations basically have two draws, one for even frames and one for odd frames. And we got the wrong one. Sad. So this next fight is the one that we need a specific chip from. The only fight that.
So I got that draw. Okay. Let's see. Doo-doo-doo-doo. So he moved down, he moved left. Okay. So he'll move up and left. There we go. So I took that a little slow. We need a chip from this. It's Zapring 2B. We need it for storyline purposes. Otherwise, I mean, it's storyline purpose. We can't advance without it. Since I'm hitting seeds within the game, I'm able to get specific fights as well. So earlier I was manipulating encounters. That was kind of like manipulating encounters. I was able to tell what frame we were on based on the movement of the bunnies and the movement of the Meteor Master of Doom. And that helps me determine what to do to get that chip. If I had done that without the Buster movement, or if I didn't let the bunnies move at all, we would have gotten Meteor, which we don't need that chip at all.
I think there's actually a 1/3 chance for Meteor and a 2/3 chance for Zapring.
Yep.
This is unfortunate.
But even though statistically it's 2/3 in your favor and 1/3 not, a lot of the frames, if you do it quickly, favor the 1 1/3. It's dumb.
Just how it is.
Yeah.
1/3 is in 1/3 of the frames are bad frames.
Okay, so that's
Very
an
important to get
optional.
those sneak runs.
Yeah, very, very much so. It's so important that in my notes they're bolded, and you know that my notes are yelling at me to use it.
And that guy is not on the way. Another slot 2 swap.
So Goofball is weak to fire. Conveniently, there's a guy standing in front that has a fire chip. It's actually an optional chip. In that fight earlier that had the 3 swordies, you can... Oh my goodness, let me check out. In that fight earlier, you can get the wide sword variant of a fire sword. But we didn't get that. It's not a huge time loss. In fact, I think it's actually faster to talk to the guy and get it from him than it is to get the fire chip from the swordie encounter, because the sword that we just got is on the top of the folder when you're editing, whereas... Would you let me check in? Whereas getting that fire chip in the swordie fight, we'd have to scroll down a little more.
Also look at the officials, that's how hacking works.
Oops. So now we gotta put our Gutsman back in. Use more of our power-ups to level up. So now we're doing some hardcore hacking here. So we just spelled cat. Good stuff. We're just gonna continue to advance a little. I'm sure we're gonna get more puzzles like that. This
style changes.
river, we did it. Okay, so I'm gonna do something a little awkward here. I didn't need to reset for that. So this isn't part of the route, but I figured I might as well show it off anyway. So there's a fight that generates here. Eventually, it'll let me. Okay, well, whatever. I was trying to show it off. So you're able to skip this fight. That was awkwardly finicky, but you see something like that in let's do this. You see something like that in the Battle Network 1 run. You actually skip the final fight by doing that. You're able to skip this fight and skip style change, but we desperately need our cuss style ASAP.
Yeah, it turns out that if you skip this. Oh.
No.
Let's see what we
Lord
got.
Vash is pleased.
Got wood.
Got wood. Wood's not a bad style. Elec in this game, for the speedrun anyway, is the worst style you could get. Aqua is the preferred style. Would you talk to
I
it?
feel like it's amazing.
Yeah, 3 maybe. But BN2, you definitely want Aqua. Aqua actually helps you. It saves time because you're able to skip 2, maybe 3 manipulations if you're feeling froggy. Though that is pretty risky to do that third one. It does make it a little more dangerous though, because basically almost immediately after you get Aqua style, you have to fight Thunder Man. It's always a good time. So we just
Yeah, he does double damage, and that is probably the
my
hardest fight in the game for
What happened
when you're
there?
starting it. Oh,
That was
missed
weird.
these.
No, whatever. There, now we know what happens when you misspell. Huh? So we spelled A-F-B-E-C-D, watch, and almost there. I don't quite get the relevance of that first one, but... So this one's a multi-part puzzle.
The progs have hints for what the answer
Wig.
is.
Wait, oops. What the? Apparently I was close enough to hit that. Okay, wig. Then we gotta spell gem. Then mask. And then H knife. You can go, spelt in, text speak, of course. Jumps, because we got mad hops. Spider, because why not? Apple. An apple a day keeps the virus away. Hey. B, I don't know. Don't give up. Raccoon. Also, I gotta do a folder edit. I forgot to do. This one's the best one ever, though. Gik Mok Sui.
How the heck did you pronounce that?
Very carefully. Okay, so I didn't do this earlier.
Shadowman has 800 health. So we need to set up a double gut shoot. And that's the reason why we need our style change, because otherwise you don't get your style change until after Shadowman.
This minute kind of sucks though, because it's really easy to not get it.
This is a tricky one because of how long the cutscene before Shadowman is.
So now we just patiently wait.
That attack plus 10.
It probably wasn't necessary, but just in
like do
case we got
something
like...
below half.
No, he does something at 300.
Ah. Alright, you're good.
We definitely didn't need it though. So now he's kind of pointing at us. So I find that rude. I'm gonna kill him.
He deserves it, right?
Definitely. I mean, he did destroy the entirety of Yumland.
Yeah, but he was pointing at us.
He was telling us we were the chosen ones. So I'm gonna ask Mom real quick if I can fly on a plane by myself. Okay, we got her permission. You have a 1 in 256 chance for her to say no, and that's just run over. Not really
Really
anything
sucks
you
when
can
you
do
get
about that. So we have to get a passport. Oh, I told her she was pretty. Go me. Hello? We also gotta do a couple of optional fights here against Mr. Famous here. He gives us an HP memory, and then he also gives us the Gateman chip, and that is super duper important. Okay, so let's see if I can remember how to do this. I did a different setup. Oops. What the heck? Okay, that should be it. This'll work. Like, this is an example of me not doing a specific amount of damage to something. So if he drops at below half, then he sends out his Revo shield, and it's really annoying. So instead of gut shooting him twice, I just gut shoot him once. But when I fight him the second time, he gets 800 instead of 600, so we're able to do it then.
Got the minips. So very important that you don't take that attack plus 30 to go with the first gut shoot.
For the exact reason I just said. Below health, bad. Below half, bad.
Sometimes it's just like tempting to take it. Just.
I'm gonna do it now. For no reason. It wastes time picking it, but...
Gotta get that cust style.
Have I ever corrupted a save when doing the reset? I have not, no.
The save is really fast. There's not much data it has to record.
So pre-manip, this folder was actually important because it gave us a bunch of star chips we could use. But since we manip it, that folder's literally useless. I wanted his chip and nothing more.
We put it in the folder even though we're not going to use it for quite some time.
So there's our 10,000 Zenny, and then we're gonna get a gate key here, and it's gonna make movement later a lot easier for us.
Opens up a nice orb.
As Monty was saying, we put it in a folder now because even though we don't necessarily need it yet, we're going to get robbed. Spoiler alert, sorry, but we're going to get robbed, and our spare chips won't be available. And even though we don't need Gateman right away, we kind of would like to have him because it makes some fights easier later before you get your chips back.
The fight to get your chips back, you want Gateman for.
Yeah.
There's a couple before. Gateman is part of the most OP PA in the speedrun.
Yeah, we'll explain that a little more when we actually use him. Some of you may already know what it is, but... the Japanese version saves time because we don't need to get Gateman. And then because we're not using a PA, we don't get the PA cutscene, so...
So we lost Mega Man, we got Mega Man back.
So this is
we lost all our money.
Yeah, we lost all our money. We're gonna lose all our chips soon. This is yes. No, what? Oops, I did the wrong way. There we go.
This fight is actually the same timing as the
What the
Gateman
hell?
fight. So we just want to draw the same chips and.
I kind of did the PA in the wrong order. So let's pretend that didn't happen. That draw was bad.
Yeah, so this fight is the other reason that we skipping the side quest for the 10,000 Zenny is helpful. Because this fight is actually optional. But the 10,000 Zenyu we just worked so hard to get got stolen, and we have to do this fight to get it back.
Also, this was the non-boss fight that I was talking about that we used Gut Shoot, just because of this dick. Funny enough, we can get a dash star from this fight. So I just skipped the cutscene, but we take a cab, and we get our chips stolen in that cab. So, yeah.
Passport too.
Yeah, everything. Sucks. So Mega Man and I just got in a fight. Whatever, no big deal. Oh look, he's here. Why is he here? Well, he told us to go back and make up with Mega Man, so I think I'll do that. Apparently somebody tried to access Mega Man. If you guys couldn't tell, I'm really fast at reading.
This is your first time, right?
Oh yeah,
Never
no,
seen
totally.
these cutscenes before?
So this kid is the reason we need that spare guard star. We're gonna give him one later. So I do with him the same thing that I do with Gateman. It's pretty much like the same exact thing too, like the same exact manipulation. So I use a double audio cue just to make it a little more consistent.
Saying no there is intentional because that means that there's less text to mash through after we reset. So it's more consistent.
I almost tried to do
those-
gate shoot.
Yeah, they're both stars and they both have a G.
Yeah.
So they look exactly the same until you put your cursor over them.
Yeah.
Those clouds also do not give you invincibility frames.
Jerks.
So that fight is... That's why, like, if you're Aqua style, that fight can kill you.
Yeah, that fight is
Take a ton
awful.
of damage out of nowhere.
Absolutely awful if you're Aqua. Oops.
Everything after that is very nice if you have Aqua, though.
Yeah.
For the most part, the manipulated run style does not matter.
Yeah, like I said, Aqua just helps you save time by not doing a couple of the manips, but it ends up not being a huge deal in the end. I think it's maybe 8 or 10 seconds you save. You could
The style
technically
can-
manipulate your style, but
Yeah, manipulating the style is actually pretty difficult because your style is actually determined when you press new game. What you can do is you can soft reset and then like press new game and stuff after waiting for a certain timing, but you don't actually get your style until like an hour into the run.
yeah, so you don't know if you're even good to go or not. So it's just, it's not, okay, this is gonna be a double negative. It's not worth it to try it because you lose no time by doing it, but it's not worth it to do it in the sense of who cares? You're gonna be fine.
I think there's like a 4-frame window, 3 or 4 frame window for Aqua.
So we're gonna do another big folder edit here. This is the second biggest one.
This is where we set up our folder for the late game. After this folder edit, there's going to be like very few big ones until the end game. This is just going to take care of pretty much everything.
And we use a sneak run here, even though there's no encounters generated in this spot, because we want to buy maximum sneak runs.
We only carry 4 right now.
Which is funny, because we'll soon be able to carry 5, but can't do anything about that quite yet. Also, if you notice, I only put 1 out of the 2 Windstar chips in. We don't need the second one yet. That second Windstar chip is only for one fight.
We can just set the one Windstar chip in the folder to be our regular chip, and that just guarantees we draw it.
So, we got Windstar, Fanstar, and Gateman. They create a PA. It's called Gator.
What does that PA do?
Well, you see, what that PA does is it creates a 900 damage move, but it's 100 per projectile. And it's homing, because, you know, why not? So if you use an attack plus 10, for example, you're not going to do 910 damage. You're going to do 990 damage, because it's adding plus 10 to each projectile, because each projectile is considered its own attack.
And that attack plus 30 chip.
Yeah, with
Going to be pretty good.
with two attack plus 10s, or one attack plus 30, we absolutely destroy every boss except one, which we need that second Windstar for.
Pretty much all of the bosses have 1,000 health or less until the very end.
Oh look, Snake Man. He has 600 hit points. Oh look, we drew Gator. Oh look, he has a couple of frames where he doesn't hide immediately. Oh look, he's dead. Now we get all of our chips back. So those two fights were doable without having Gateman, but it would have been slower. Like, it's a lot slower to do those fights without Gateman than it was to just put him in the folder.
Like, we still have double gut shoot, but I mean, Gator is just so much faster.
Also, he shoots random things out of his chest. It's a lot funner.
True.
So now we're in the secret society of justice. But as usual, something has to go wrong, so, you know. Time to save the day. So if you notice, usually when I enter an area, I sneak run right away. I didn't sneak run here. The biggest reason why is because we're going to be entering 5 total areas, but we only have 4 sneak runs. We're able to run away from everything in this area, and this area produces the least amount of encounters. At minimum, you're going to get 2. Most likely, you're going to get 3. And on very awful situations, you'll get a 4th. Every other area, I believe you average 4, but can get 5 or 6 depending on how unlucky you are.
The level it takes to run away increases for each comp as well. So I'm not sure that you can actually run away from the later comps.
I think you can in the second one? I think. Maybe. Probably not.
I don't know. We don't get encounters there.
Yeah, how would I know? So now we're going to use our sneak run. So the theme behind these comps is we're picking up keys in these BMDs to unlock the purple gates. And then we're turning off the traps by pulling those levers. Every single room has a trap of some sort. The first room, not counting the load room, but the first room had arrows. This one has an earthquake. And then if you notice, there's things besides the prog bots that are hanging out here. Like this guy is a bandit. If he grabs you, then he takes your money and you have to go to where he drops off your money to pick it up, otherwise you lose it. There's vampires to take your health. I forget what the last one does.
Zombies, and they take you back to the start.
Yeah, yeah.
Zombies are the worst.
So this room, it's obviously a ring of fire, but since we got that wireless PET option from good old Mail, we're good to go. How convenient. Who would have thunk that
We
that
didn't
would
even
have...
skip the cutscene where we got it.
Yeah, I don't think we can. I think you have to talk to her,
Yeah, you do.
because this game's lame. So some sort of cutscene happens there, but we skip it. Who needs it? So, if you saw, I went out of my way and picked up what was called a sub-men. So what that does is it increases how many of a sub-chip we can have. So now we can have 5 sneak runs. So it's a little late for this particular area, but you know, it's a thought that counts. We turned off this. So this is one of my favorite manips in the game. So that's Raul. He's extra Cajun now. We fight Chode, because he's a Chode. We use Raul's own crotch to help save the day. Thanks, Raul. What a guy. Now Chowd's just all, oh, I'm a Chode. I'm so sorry I did that to you. You're obviously not the bad guy. And look at who the bad guy is. It's the princess. Who'da thunk? And look, the wireless came in handy again. Man, I love how that works out. So we're actually gonna be in 2 areas of this comp now, because this links to area 5.
Who would want-
I'm gonna pick up 2 things. Pick up the key because we need to. But then there's also this thing that's not too far out of the way. So another power up. Go us. Oops.
Are you gonna go for the corner swag?
Of course. What am I, a savage?
Excellent. There's a zombie near the ends. A little tricky to dodge. Normally you have to wait for him.
Yeah, you kind of just walk and wait, and then you blitz it. Oh my goodness. I hugged the wall too hard. This guy. Oops. Well, you know what? I'm not getting it. Kinda goofed.
You got the vampire at least. That one's easy. It's more important to not be hit by the zombie than to not be hit by the vampire.
Yeah. So I move up to this tile in particular. It could just be any, like, top or bottom row, but I move out of his direct vision because he does a different attack. So we're able to take him out a little quicker. And as you saw, he was an 800 health boss, and he died in one go.
But they weren't so good at the balancing back then.
No. Have they ever been?
I'd like to think it sort of got better in the later ones.
I mean, I guess 4 and 5 weren't too terrible compared to the other games.
You don't have like 600 damage VAR swords or like 900 damage PAs where you can have 5 of each coffee.
Yeah. 6 has heat cross though. Which I guess isn't like unbalanced, but isn't balanced. It's kind of like middle ground IMO. Why balance when you can be OP? Yeah, exactly. Oh, by the way, we're gonna steal this HP memory from the plane. Let's go. So this is actually the shortest segment in the game, like this particular scenario. Every single other scenario is usually around 15-20 minutes. This one's less than 10 if you do it right. What the?
Is that
what
4 or 5?
was I?
Did you get all the sneak runs?
Oh, I only get 4.
Oh right, you only need 4. So much for getting that 5th slot.
I forgot that that wasn't the part that produces the cutscene. Whatever. What? Oh, whoops. I was so distracted. Got to talk to him. Hi.
Oh right.
See, now I'm supposed to talk to them. Whoopsie. I mixed up 2 steps.
Still gonna be a fast split.
Yeah. So something about a spider, yada yada yada. Oops.
We have to create a trap for the spider.
It's gonna be a really, really complex and kind of not believable trap, but that's fine. So we need the pilot's cap. I mean, I guess that one makes some sense.
Well, we need some bait for the spider too.
Whiskey?
Spiders like whiskey.
Yeah, spiders like whiskey. That's science. I saw it on Animal Planet. It's true.
I just also casually gives us some whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah, time to get crunk. How old are we again? 10?
I think we're 11 now.
Oh. Huh. So we got we got a pilot's cap, we got some whiskey, we got chopsticks, and we got thread. I can kind of understand like 3 of those. Wait, what? What am I doing? Oh, duh. Oh, are we still 10? Oh, that's even greater. There we go. Jeez, I'm like mixing up all the events. There we go. Maybe I'm just like secretly trying to prove a point that even with mess ups, this is still the fastest split. That's what it is. It's gotta be.
Oh, these cops have amazing music too.
I really like the music in these comps. So the trick with these comps is you're trying to turn off a bunch of the magnets because not only does it get in your way, but it's messing with the plane right now. What the heck? A little rusty on these comps. It's gonna be a little rough. I would say that 2 is polished. I would just say that 3 had more content. I would say 1 was like a beta that you paid for.
Yeah, one feels pretty rough.
1 is
2 and
really
3
rough.
2 and 3 have their own balance issues, but they're different. Three had a lot of customization options.
VN6 wasn't bad. I'm of the camp of BN4 is the worst. And it's not because it's bad, it's because it tried to experiment a little too much. Now if you're noticing, like, you see like all the magnetic paths and are disappearing as I go to their respective colored demag machines. Three had bug style. That's a good reason to like it.
Bug style is awesome.
Yeah, you,
Speedrun should
of course
use
you
it.
would say that. Heat bug.
Bug is amazing. It's a red grass stage. Your buster does double damage. It's like a shitty version of heat style in VN6. You do a ton of damage. You just have to wait 20 years for the charge. But sometimes you get lucky and you get like Buster Max, and you only have to wait 1 year instead of 10.
Yeah, yeah.
Four had a story.
These games have stories?
Four's story is, here's this tournament. Oh shit. The world is getting destroyed. Go see it.
While doing the tournament still, like... The story to all these games to me is always, you are the brother of a dead brother that can now access the web virtually. And you fight crime. It's not inaccurate.
It's not. Pokemon is similar except without the dead brother part.
Yeah. Had to remember where to go for a sec. Other than that, like, first comp.
Yeah, the last comp is a little tricky. Forces you to do a lot of the one ways.
There you go. Exactly what the story is about. Okay, this manipulation's pretty neat. Not because it's anything fancy, but there's this random prog here. We use
That
him.
prog- He happens to be like the exact perfect distance away from Magnet Man. First, let us hit the right frame.
So-
This manip is incredibly consistent.
So we didn't draw the attack plus 30, but we did have this attack plus 10 3 different times. And 2 different times. So that's pretty neat. So we did 1080 damage to a 1000 hit point boss. Dunzo. As you can see, Gator's not broken at all.
Completely fair and balanced.
Fair and balanced. Magna Man's pretty cool. I like his field setup. Now I gotta go say hi to all our friends. If you recall earlier, I went a little out of my way and bought a brooch from a guy for 1,000 zenny. By getting that brooch, we're able to get 10,000 zenny from good old guy over here. So that little bit of time to buy that is worth the investment. Because we have to talk to her anyway. We're not allowed to advance until we talk to all of our friends and mom. But before we wrap up the day, I'm gonna jack in here. And this is why I was saying it was really important to talk to that lady earlier and why movement's going to be easier. So these gate keys plug in to these warp pads. And we're going to be doing a lot of backtracking, like a lot. So we're going from the shortest split in the game to the longest split in the game. So we're going from something that we could beat in under 10 minutes to something that takes us almost a half hour.
You know what would be better than having Gator in the folder?
What's that?
Having 2 Gators.
2 Gators. You know, that might be crazy enough to work. You think he's ever seen Gateman used in this way? Think he knew that Windstar and Fanstar would make Gateman OP? Because if he didn't know, he knows now. Oh, look.
Gateman Omega opens with Gator.
Yeah, just immediate Gator. And now we have 2 Gateman chips. It's pretty handy.
We've got a ton of Zenny now, and we don't have to spend it on full custs anymore.
It's pretty great. We also get a free pass because we helped the plane from not crashing. That's pretty nice. So when we talked to that doctor on the plane earlier, he gave us a chip called Silver Fist, and we're actually going to use it 3 times. 1 time because it's pretty much necessary to use it, but we do have wood style, so we could get away without it. It's just slower. The other 2 times, it's just to avoid using Gator, so we don't get the PA load screen and then the freeze screen when we use it.
I would try to avoid using PAs whenever possible, but Gator is very fast. It will win every fight except this one.
Yeah, Gator's actually like horribly useless in this fight. Oh, what the hell? He dodged me! No, I got a longsword! I don't want this! What the hell? I mean, okay, whatever, we got a longsword, we did it. Totally bland. Part of the RNG minute, I promise. But yeah, so Silver Fist has piercing, and it also has a code you can put in to expand how to use the chip. So we were able to launch 3 Silver Fist at once, from a distance no less, and it was 140 damage per fist. And because it pierces, we absolutely demolish the Dominards. Otherwise we have to wait for them to attack, and that's really lame.
Now we can break red ice.
Yes. Which they look more pink to me, but whatever. Now, so in that fight, I did Silver Fist, and even though we had to wait for some movement, it was still faster than all the PA loading. Silver Fist too good.
Gator, you could use it right at the start of the fight, but it's too long.
Yeah, lots of loading. And we're gonna do it for one more fight here. And this fight kind of has a tight window.
It is kind of pink.
Oh no, we didn't get it. What the heck?
Slot.
I think I was doing too fast. Yeah, there we go. And then I messed up the code! No! The ultimate whiff. Okay, so you know, in this case, it would have been faster to just Gator, because I... But...
Well, Gator uses slot 6 as well.
Yeah, but it has a little bit of a different timing.
The same timing.
Oh, to talk to the ice? No, I do it a little quicker with the Silver Fist.
I think like Gator, Gator and Silver Fist are both using slot 6.
There we go.
Or no, you're using slot 2.
The old Silver Fist used 6, and it's kind of lame, but it was just as inconsistent with that timing. I think if you wait a little longer at the menu screen, it's more consistent. I tried to make something that was a little faster, but good lord, did that go south.
Yeah, you always get slot 2, and slot 6 will usually appear in the 6th slot if you... Well, it's a pretty big window, but it's earlier than the slot 4 window, which is why we use it. It's also more consistent. You can still be too early because it's really fast to trigger the ice battles.
No, it did not take my down input. No, it didn't take it again! Mercy! There we go. We did it. Go team! Man, now we don't need Silver Fist. I don't know if it can even be used for any of the other fights. So now we're just manipulating Gator for pretty much the entirety of the run, as if we weren't already almost doing that. Also, we have to really go out of our way for this, but this is required, which is lame sauce. I wonder if I'm going to finish underestimate even with the technical difficulties. I don't think I am. Maybe. So we have a free pass. We don't have to worry about any of this stuff. We just slide past it. In fact, I don't even think the free pass makes a difference here. I think they just let us through.
Mr. Match.
So now we gotta do a bunch of questions here. So he gives us a gate key that we really need to save some time, and going out of our way to do this saves a lot of time. But he also gives us an HP memory, so it's doubly important.
I mean, we could always buy a replacement HP memory, but gate key is very important.
Yeah, like there's still plenty of HP memories that we haven't accessed yet. But this one's just conveniently on the way anyway. A quiz god, yeah, exactly. Look at how fast I answered all those. I'm so good. Yeah, like I had mentioned, this is the longest split by a mile. Like, we're doing a lot of backtracking already, and you're gonna see a lot of backtracking on the net as well. You're gonna see the coolest area in the game, so you know there's that consolation, I guess.
But because we're doing so much backtracking, that's why we're going out of our way to get all these gate keys, because they set up warps that allow us to go to areas that very quickly, instead of having to go all the way around.
So that gate key that we set earlier before we went to bed allows us to go here, and then the gate key that we just picked up allows us to go here. It's pretty neat. So now we're in Natopia. And Natopia is nice because it'll take us to the coolest part of the game.
Oh man.
So excited. So I'd mentioned if we got Aqua style, then there are a couple places that we could save time. This is one of them. So we wouldn't even save or reset. So that's where some of the time save is. We wouldn't have to worry about the PA screen here, and then we wouldn't have to worry about Gator doing its thing. We would just use our Buster.
In 2, the charge is very fast, and these viruses are weak to water. Or rather, the charge is fast for Aqua.
Yeah,
For stuff
Aqua
like
has the
Eli,
faster
not so
charge, but
much.
everything else is slower. And everything else is about normal. Like Aqua's the only odd one. So now we're in the coolest area of the game, the internet. Really good music, really nice visuals. But you're gonna see a lot of it because we're gonna backtrack here a lot. It's almost sickening how much we have to do it.
Is it really backtracking if you always go like a little bit farther each time?
If you want to be technical, we're only partially
You're going through
backtracking.
the same part of the. You're going through the same part of this map like 3 times. At least you got plenty of sneak runs.
Our hit points. It's like Piccolo's power level when Raditz shows up. We did it.
That's the last HP memory, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, so it was never really planned out this way, but conveniently, 420 hit points is our maximum hit points, because from here on out, all of our level ups will be from power-ups, and then we'll just reach the cusp of being able to sneak run everything away. I remember like seeing older runs have like 500 hit points.
So they probably skipped the power up.
Yeah. Now we gotta pay this hefty fee for information. 10,000 Zenny for him to tell us what to do. 10,000 required Zenny, no less, because you need to talk to him. Good plot. I mean, at this point in time, we're rich anyway, so might as well. There's tons of running around you have to do, because it's talk to this person, talk to that person knows what to do, oh, you need to advance here a little further, so on and so forth. It's a little obnoxious.
My first time, this was like easily my least favorite scenario.
Oh yeah, I don't know how they expected you to beat this without, like, a guide of some sort. So, that Zap Ring 2B, we need it here. You can get it from an ice fight in Den Area 2, and it's a guarantee to get it if you get a high enough rank.
I think you need like S rank for it.
Yeah, you need an S rank for it,
Anything S won't do.
but you have such powerful chips by then that you're pretty much guaranteed that S rank. But that
chip
takes time.
Gator.
Yeah.
Even the
of course.
nominative route gets Gator because it's just that good.
Yeah.
So you'll have a bunch of full quests in the folder by now.
So now we're gonna do our partial backtracking. There you go. That's a fair term.
Forward tracking?
Yeah, we'll do some forward tracking here. So we're gonna make our way back to the undernet. I think the last time I did this in a TeamBN marathon, we had Progbot up, so we just had the quiz bot going. because it's that resident sleeper. And it kind of sucks for Battle Network 3 because it's definitely the better game. Like, 2 is my favorite, but 3 is definitely the better game, but it has 2 scenarios that are just as bad as this, and 1 that's kind of in that regard.
3's story, like 3 actually has fewer comps than 2 does. 3 like sort of makes up for that in the main story by letting you go through all of the main areas of the internet over and over and over.
Indeed.
So, at least we got to hear the nice underneath music.
Is the OSTs in these games are just really good. So even though it's kind of a snooze fest running through this over and over, at least you get to hear really good music. And because we have sneak runs, we're uninterrupted. So as you can see, we're running all the way back to Undernet Square, even though we were just here. But the good news about this, right, is once we get to Undernet Square, we get to move an extra like 30 steps. Progress. Actually, is it even 30? Oh, it's way more than 30. Maybe it's like 50.
Oh my god, so much progress.
Wait a minute, what the? I talked to the wrong board. There, I added more steps. We did it.
That cutscene skip feels so good. What cutscene skip?
So we talked to this guy. He gives us a way to cure yellow, which is pretty nice. Also, if you notice, we're jacking out and back in a lot. Casually, it probably wasn't intended for you to do that, and they wanted you to run around and get in a lot of fights and stuff, but we're doing all this running to different areas. It's just infinitely faster to leave the net and re-enter the net.
3 does that a lot. So all the games do that a lot.
Yeah. So now we can break yellow ice, which is nice, because the next person we need to talk to is behind yellow ice. This is another fight that you could aqua, but it's still a scary fight because burner hurts.
And attack plus 30.
Because we totally need that. Like, even though you can skip the manip there with Aqua, it's still a really dangerous fight. It's pretty much how behind are you? Like, how much time do you need to make up? Or how YOLO you want to be?
The sorties just, the fire element sorties, they just stand still. You can just like buster them without like worrying about anything. The fishies will actually charge you and they'll leave behind flames in your area that make it harder for you to move.
Yeah, if you noticed, we're back in Nitopia. Even though we were just in Nitopia, it's faster to check out and run here than it would be to backtrack. And it would take another sneak run.
I love the Freeze Man scenario.
Isn't it great?
I love Netopia.
I love the fact that I'm super far behind in my estimate just because of technical issues. And what better way to complement that than the Freeze Man scenario? Yes!
They go hand in hand.
You know, there's going to be one BN marathon where there's no issue and I can actually be underestimate without some sort of cheat.
We'll keep going until we get it right, I guess.
I guess. One day. Yeah, look guys, we're back in Undernet again. God damn it.
to be fair, the internet is super cool in Bean 2.
I remember I really liked how it looked, and then this visited me, and he brought his S-video cable with him, and he's like, tell me how much better it looks. And then I went in this part, and I was like, oh, it's so good. Alright guys, but look, it's different this time. We're going a different way. Yay!
Progress.
And then we get to Gator, more thing. So we've mentioned before that in the Japanese route, you would use Prism and Tree Bomb because of how it handles collisions. This fight's actually one of the hardest fights for that route. Because you gotta time your Prism throw just right. If you don't, then the B tank just runs it over like it's nothing. It sucks. It's so bad.
Yeah, especially since he's on ice, it's even weirder with the timing.
Yeah. So this guy is the brother of the guy that was behind the Fishy 2 ice. We talked to him, and we literally talked to him just for him to confirm that he's alive and okay. So we wasted all of that time to run all the way over there just for him to say, oh yeah, I'm fine.
But the best part is that we get to go back.
Yeah. So okay, we get to go back to Natopia, right? And we get to tell the Navi, hey, your brother's okay. And he'll be like, oh, cool, here's the blue frag, so you're able to cure blue ice. I could have done it this whole time myself, but I was stuck behind this yellow ice, and I was scared.
Well, to be fair, he gives you 1/3 of the blue cure, I think.
Yeah, he gives you part A. What a guy. I bet you he has the other thirds. It's just...
I don't even remember where the others are. I know Freezeman has one. Spoilers.
Darn! How could you do that? Yeah, backtracking the chapter. No, I think we agreed that it was called forward tracking. Barely.
50 steps every time
Yeah,
you re-enter the
you add
same
50 steps to each part. It's new every time. The only thing, as far as I'm aware, the only thing that's actually like pure backtracking is talking to that guy that we just talked to, because there's no additional progress. In fact, if anything, the second time's easier because you don't have to do a fight. So there you go. There's some progress for you. But here's the best part. We get to go back to Undernet Area 3 again. You tired of this area yet?
Hope not, because we get to do it one more time.
Good old Natopia 3, man. So how's your scrubathon?
I came in 1 minute over estimate, so about as expected.
Excellent.
I nearly game overed on Starman. He killed me twice.
Oh,
and then when I
jeez.
went to do the refight, he gave me the easiest pattern I've ever seen. Classic.
Of course.
Which, depending on when Plum shows up, we might get a redux of that.
Ooh, excellent.
Someone will be running network transmission this marathon. Ooh, present. Oh, it's keys in the.
You know, it's funny. I never planned on that being an emote. I planned on Keys and Neat being something, but that picture actually comes from me testing out a couple of layouts, and I took a couple of screenshots, and you know, I had my webcam on, so my face just happened to be there, and somebody cropped it out. Also, yeah, we ran all the way back to Area 3 just to see some guy walk below, and we're like, did you see that? How is he under there? I mean,
Before we wouldn't have had any idea that there was actually a floor below us.
yeah, exactly. And you know, God forbid we just like jump down there.
I was gonna say the same thing. This ain't a platformer though. No, I'll save that for a different game.
Yeah, we'll wait. That's for network transmission.
Yeah, someone stole Mega Man's jump prog. Like earlier, you had to get the Navi's walk prog. Mega Man's just like, we don't really need it. I'll just stick to the ground.
And lo and behold. So we buy this power up because it's really nice to have. So this power up in the original route wasn't actually in it. We would go back and whoops. We would go back and talk to a prog that was somehow in the real world. But that's so out of the way. Since we don't have to buy full cuts anymore, we'll just spend the money elsewhere. Like there.
Yeah. It's like 40 seconds, which is a lot at this point.
BN2 is so good because it's so good.
Hello, Dr. Dragoon.
I remember I hated this part during the blind run.
Oh, I'd say you could get stuck in here for quite some time, and the viruses are not fun. Dominators and all that.
No, it's fine. We'll just draw Silver Fist. That's still in the folder. It never leaves when we put it in.
Yeah, you got a point there.
When you're finished, I want to see what crap is still left in the folder.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We can show the alphabet soup that we still have.
It's the same every time, right? Or did you do something improv?
No, it's the same.
Cool.
Some of the slots might be like slightly different. In fact, maybe 2 slots are different. That's it.
I remember when Monty was routing the gospel fight, he's like, not manipulating is not an option, and he just looked through the folder and there's like a Recov 10L and
yeah, there's Recov 10L, there's still V-Gun. there's a shotgun J in there, I think.
it's so good.
Yeah, we'll definitely see the folder. In fact, I'll show the folder when I do my last folder edit, so we can just enjoy it.
Oh, that's where Frag 2 is. He drops it in the gospel ID, I think.
Yes.
You forget that these games have a story, lol.
I mean, yeah. I don't have a comeback for that one, it's just true. So I think that warp that I just used to get to Kodo, I think that's the only one that's required. Required in the sense of I think it's the only one that like you're forced to get. Wait, no, you can. Is it?
Yeah, because you can't get to under Kodo any other way. And I don't know if anyone noticed, but Kodo squares in the shape of a skull, so that's not indicating anything at all.
Oh, no, not at all. Nope.
Oh, this fight is terrible, so manipping it is really good, because if you don't open draw Gator against the 3 flappy 3s, after they jump like twice, they're completely off sync from each other. They're constantly cracking your panels, and especially with wood style, congratulations by the way.
yeah. As soon as that loaded up and I saw the green, I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Vash is pleased.
Oh, and I just realized it's even better because like these next 2 fights are fire viruses. So
Yep.
if you weren't manipping, it's extremely scary.
There was one run where I died to this fight.
Yeah, because they're off sync. It's even worse like the first 3 fishy 2s, because since they're lined up, it's I think a bug, a little not obvious, but the fire trail they leave stacks. So
Sure
even
does.
if you're at max health and you're wood style, when you step on it, you instantly die.
Yep. I've lost a run there too. Every single fishy 2 fight, I've lost a run there at one point. And then we started manipping. Yes. Even then, I still lost like the first fishy fight once.
Yeah. Dragoon, basically, as you said, it's similar to a terrorist organization, and they're just trying to do different things to make money, to purchase enough servers that magically grow so that they can create a copy of base.
So here's
Also,
a neat thing. So
yeah, you explain it.
the plus 30 we had mentioned before, it's plus 30 per projectile. So not only do we do enough damage to Freeze Man, but while he's trying to form his ice shield here, he's still vulnerable. So we just mash A and he dies. It's an utter joke.
Yeah, because otherwise you have to do, I think, like 60 or something damage to break the ice shield, and then it triggers a wind effect and just all sorts of nonsense, but you can just mash A.
What style has a fun time breaking that shield?
You got a point there. Fortunately, with Manip, you can kind of put the power-ups in different places. So I know, like, sometimes you could put them in attack instead of charge, and then just use a regular Buster Shot.
Yeah, so what the preferred way to handle power-ups is you max out attack ASAP. If you want to try and YOLO Aqua, then you put 1 in attack and then the rest in charge until charge is maxed. Because if you do it that way, then by the time you get Aqua, you have max charge for it, like when you need to use it.
And the damage of the charge shot just depends on your style's level, which was something unique to BN2. And so just having maximum charge, if you get a good element, your Buster will do quite a bit of work. Mostly in a non-Manip category though, because like while using the Buster.
So I forgot to point it out earlier, but I had that unlocker and we unlocked a purple mystery data that had another sub-mem. So now we have 6 sneak runs. So the time to get that sub-mem is actually worth it because you average 2 encounters in one spot that you're not able to run away from.
Some of those encounters are really hard to kill too, because there's red shadows that can only be hit by sword chips. Gator is not a sword chip, so we're screwed.
You'd think with all the projectiles he throws, one of them could be a sword, but no.
Rocks might have rough edges. Does that count?
Yeah, that totally should. So that real life prog that I was talking about that gives you a power up, he would be over where we were in the servers when we did the Shadowman scenario, and we would have to go to Koto physically before we come back here and then go all the way back and then talk to him and then get the power up. It was a huge waste of time, but it was
if you play the game-
necessary.
Yeah. Because 10,000 Zenny is a lot when you're not manipping and you need full cost.
We get to hear one of the best tracks in the game, though.
Oh, and servers are growing in this apartment complex that no one's living in and causing internet radiation that fuses the cyber world and the real world. Yay, science.
Yes, because that's exactly what would happen. We will
But
not
it's okay
question it.
because LAN has an invisible radiation suit up to 50k times normal radiation.
More science.
Fantastic Netopia engineering.
So, if you noticed, every single comp has a theme of some sort. So this one is the warp pads are corrupted, because, you know, why not? They'll warp you to the wrong place. Like, as you can see, I took that warp pad a second time, and now we're here. There's... when you say that there's switches, I guess?
Yeah.
Think of it like getting keys for switches. So we're getting these things called L bits, and by putting them in the slot, I guess, we fix the warp. And it gives us more access to every elevator from there, which I guess since it's in the real world, it's corrupting where we can reach.
Yep. And we're basically just trying to get to the top floor. So everyone that Keys fixes does give him access to another floor in the real world, which would then take you back to where you were wrong warped to in the first place. Which is just there because if it didn't, then you could actually lock yourself out of a couple power-ups or just soft lock the game. So it's an interesting way of dealing with it.
The music's really good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the song is called "You Can't Go Back."
But you
Which
sure
you
can.
Oh, alright, we'll rename it "You Shouldn't Go Back."
Yeah. So I'm going to assume that casually they expected you to like put in like one at a time and then go to each floor in the real world. I don't think they necessarily intended you to be able to do this in Not even one go, it's 2 goes.
Well, yeah, and you could even do it in one go, but it would just take more backtracking. So
Yeah.
because the first half of it is getting Elbit, what, 4-2, I think,
Yeah.
the thing that you're about to pick up, and then we go back to the start and take a separate branch at the beginning to pick up Elbit EV, which is the final one, which will unlock 430 to the penthouse suite.
Yeah, so now we take this top path instead of this bottom path. Progress.
Forward tracking.
Yeah, forward tracking. So we could put the L-bit in right now, but then we would have to go to, I can't even remember which floor it is, but you'd have to go to a floor in the real world and then backtrack because we need this EV L-bit to access the boss.
Floor
the boss
4.
is.
I've done it before, and it's pretty slow if you forget to pick this up.
I think I forgot once, and that was during one of my first playthroughs.
It's quite a hassle to undo as well, and most likely you won't be sneak running, so you might encounter Lava Dragon.
Sure did. Sure did. Good old lava dragon.
Or sorry, I think Lava Drag.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's correct. Remember, it's not Silver Fist, it's Silv Fist.
Corn shit.
You know what final comp I actually kind of enjoyed? I actually kind of
BN3?
enjoyed 4s.
Oh, the gimmick is so rough in that one though, and the pointless
Yeah,
gravity wells.
the gimmick itself sucked, but I like the concept. Like, if the concept were, like, polished. BN3s is, like, the worst. Like, it's the best, but it's the worst. Man, is that
really
rough.
good. Awesome.
I'm always amazed when I watch Monty do it, because he doesn't save ever. I think you only save for, like, what's that? It's like that last bit that has the 5 or 6.
I've been screwing up the second one. I should save more.
Second one's tough. Second one's my least favorite because it's like, especially if you try to do it really fast, that last bit of the 2, they're on a weird cycle when you get to it.
All the final comps have awesome music, though. That seems
It's
to be
true.
awesome.
Except for Battle Network 1. They blew their best theme in the second scenario.
But Battle Network 1 is rough anyway, so...
Definitely more of a beta.
Like 5 minutes left for the estimate? Is that what I'm being told?
No, I mean,
Like, you've got an extra, like, 3 seconds.
Oh,
pretty
okay.
sure.
Alright, so I had issues with this manip in my PB. But believe I should be fine because
Yeah.
I fixed it up a little bit.
I wasn't here earlier, but the gauntlet manips are really slick since you use the RNG within the fight itself to fix your subsequent draws.
Except Gauntlet 2 and Gauntlet 4 went south.
Ooh.
The fights were unfortunate. I don't know what went wrong. Something did.
So one of them was because of the wind box. I don't
Oh.
remember what
Yeah.
caused the other one.
Wind affects RNG terribly. I'm trying to think what
Oh
else
no, it was the
does.
B tank. So it's a B tank and the wind that caused the problem.
Oh yeah, if the B tank moves like one extra panel, parity's thrown off and it's just, you're done.
It's important to get hit in the quick man fight here because his boomerang blocks the Gator shots.
It makes consistent RNG advancement as well.
These bosses have less than 900 health. Goodbye.
I mean, even those with more, we have a fix for that.
But yeah,
So now we can-
in PB, that segment, like the first run that I did back when I got that lower 214, I had to redo that manip like twice, and then in PB, I didn't get Gator for Cutman. Luckily, I got second turn Gator, but still, it kind of sucked. But I spent, not even kidding, I spent an hour and a half working on that manip 2 days ago to make sure that I'd have something consistent. A lot of the text manips I made a lot more consistent because I double audio cue it now instead of just... So I'll wait less in a title screen, but...
And I think that's definitely the better way to do it.
Yeah. I remember when I tried to do Gospel Manip, I was like, go fast on the title screen, and then I would wait inside the comp after I used Sneak Run.
Now we're setting up the minute for the last...
The final folder edit.
Oh yeah, one more.
Was that the final?
Oh, never mind.
Oh, wait, there's the other one.
But yeah, so if you've noticed, in both these boss rushes, you see me kind of taking it slow, going through the chip draws. I'll know where I'm at and if I did the manip right. If I see specific chips in specific slots, and with that in mind as well, if I see specific chips in specific slots, I know how to handle it to get the RNG I want. So there's scenarios where Airman I want to move once, there's scenarios where I want to move twice, there's scenarios where I don't buster, Nightman.
Like routing it and planning it is kind of confusing, but eventually you boil it down to like, if this chip is in this slot, do this thing, and then you just have to memorize that, or have notes.
So this manip's pretty neat. I'm gonna need some quiet real quick for this folder edit. So yeah, so we walk here because we're advancing time a little differently. And then we have to do really precise movement that I don't mess up because this is one hell of a place.
You can't save in the final comp, so we're doing the minute from all the way back there.
Including equipping a Sneak Run, so there's a lot to it.
It's like the easiest way to kind of think about it is you use what I used to call the Walk of Doom, because we did a Walk of Doom before we did Raoul Crotch Manip. But so we do a Walk of Doom from the corner, and then we headbutt every single wall until we get to this last bit. So since attack 30 is in slot 5, we want base to move twice. If it was not in slot 5, he'd only move once, because every time he moves, RNG advances. So now, as long as we see Windstar in slot 3, I did it right, and super duper easy peasy. And you'll get to see the only boss that requires more than one Gator.
And not even just 2 Gators, 2 buffed up Gators.
Neat, we did it.
GG Gospel. He's got a pattern. He can be pretty annoying because he spawns bug frags randomly, but there are safe times to hit him. And the neat thing is that in phase 2, when he gets below 1,000 health, he'll start copying other navies that you beat. But unfortunately, or fortunately, you're not going to see very much of that.
Nah, who needs to see something cool like that? So there's actually 2 patterns that I love how we're just like completely like, oh, it's a final boss. Oh, we did it. But so there's actually 2 patterns that I've seen on him. That's the pattern I usually get. Usually if I don't take a hit from him and then run to the middle, he'll shoot a bug frag in that middle row at first. Also, time, we did it, yay. But yeah, so he has 2 patterns I noticed. I usually get that one more often than not. I'd say like 9 times out of 10, that's the pattern I get, where he shoots a bug frag from the middle and from there I know how he's going to shoot his bug frags. So that hit also changes the RNG, so that changes how he shoots. So he shoots that first one, I get hit by it. He'll shoot a second one from the bottom, he'll shoot a third one from the middle, and then a fourth one from above. There's one where he shoots from above first, and I had no clue what to do with that. It worked in the end. I was really thrown off.
I think this was a good run. Wait, did the estimate just change?
I enjoy.
The estimate just changed. I mean, wait. As in, we were always underestimate, weren't we?
Good run.
Every other Gator minute is super consistent, except for those last few. This game could use more runners.
Yeah. All of the Battle.net games are good for speedrunning. 4 doesn't exist though. Even 5 has some good stuff in it, it's just super long. Like, the liberations are kind of cool. But yeah, thank you Keizaron for Battle Network 2.